nice. Very nice. Hi folks, Dave with DBSTechTalk. And today I received the Monoprice Monolith THX AAA 788. We'll just call it that. And just starting to break it in a little bit, but I wanted to show you guys kind of what it's got. And this view is going to be a little hard because everything's hooked up, but I have it connected. Let me lower the camera here. Bring it in a little bit, lower it a little bit more, get my water bottle out of the way. So we have the Gustard U12, and it is pulling 24 by 192 from my Surface Pro 3. Going in here, I have coaxial, optical, and AES all running. So coaxial to the Geshelli, which you can't see. Hold on. I'll lower it down a little bit more here. Give me a moment. Okay, so get this out of the way. So we got the Geshelli, and we have coaxial going into that, and then we have optical going into the AU and X1S. And then from here, we have AES 3 going into the Monolith. And then we have the X7S linked into the X1S, so we have AU stack. We have the Geshelli Enog 2 Pro with the Geshelli Arcal Pro on RCA, which that isn't turned on. And then we have the Loxg P20 running off of balanced on the Geshelli. Okay. Then we have the Monolith, which obviously has its own amplifier. And then we have RCA out, analog out, going into the APPJ PA1502A and also into the CTH. A lot of stuff going on, all coming through the Gustard U12 off of the Surface Pro 3. Let me get the camera back so you can actually see my smiling face here. And we'll back everything up just a smidge. And I want to just very quickly say that build quality wise, this thing's impressive. Very nicely metal build, black, of course, fits in with everything else on here. Does have plenty of ports and inputs and outputs on it. Does not have balanced out though. That's kind of a bummer, but I really don't have a use for that at the moment unless I wanted to go into the Loxg as a balanced amp, but it's not that big of a deal because I have the Enog going into that, so I can live with that. Does have a very nice premium feel to it. It has a really nice premium look to it. I think that it looks really sharp. The amp that this is replacing is the Audio GD, and the Audio GD just had all the knobs and switches on it, and it just didn't look as clean and nice as this does. So I think this has a better look to it. The other thing that I really like about it is that it does have balanced out. It is true balanced out. I can now use balanced here, balanced on P20, and balanced on the X7S. So I have a few things I can test on a balanced XLR. Whereas when I was using the CTH, even though it has an XLR out, it's not balanced out. And so that was kind of a bummer. I wasn't able to get the full switch. There are kind of a couple quirks about this. The menu is a little clunky. It's not as bad as what I had read on some of the reviews. Some of the reviews were really ripping it to shreds, saying that the menu is awful. It's not terrible. You can get around it fairly quickly. And the only major gripe that I have is that in order to get from using headphones to line out, you have to go into settings and switch it. There's not a switch on the front that you can change your outputs. That would have been handy to have like an extra little button right here that would have changed it from headphone out to line out. If they do a revision, maybe Monoprice can add that. One thing I didn't try though is putting it there. So I have it on headphone out, playing music. And if I change it to line out, will it? Okay, so you can do it that way. You could just set your volume and then have it swap by being in the output mode. You can swap it that way. Do be careful though on this. It does have a protection, power protection. So if you have music playing and then you input a headphone into it, it will automatically halt everything for a moment, readjust, and then restart up. So do be careful of that. Now you notice here that I have these EMF Classic T50 RPs. Now these don't take a bazillion power, but they take enough power. You have to have something pretty powerful like the AU X7S on high gain, or the Audio GD on high gain. You had to really push it, and you had to be noon, 1:30, 2 o'clock on the AU X7S to sound good. And on here, I'm at -20, and it's actually very comfortable to listen to. So, plenty of headroom on this. This goes all the way up. Let's see. Let's pause this. And there's 0. And then plus would go all the way to +16. So you get plenty of headroom on this. So it's not like maxed out to push T50s. Also, the other unique thing about this is if you use the outs, it's a variable out. So if you go into your settings, you go into line out, and you put your headphones on and you hit power. We're at -20 here, and I have to have the CTH pretty much close to being maxed out. But if I change this over, push this up to 0, now I'm like at 1030. And if you really wanted to get it going, go up to 5. I mean, you can, it's really nice. It's handy. It's got some pretty unique features. Now, I haven't played with the DAC or the EQ settings yet. I may actually play around a little bit with the EQ settings. I'm not much of a person for EQ. I tend to prefer whatever the headphones sound like coming from the DAC that's being used and the amplifier that's being used. But I may, now that I have EQ settings, be able to adjust a little bit and see what I think. And the DAC interests me. I might try it on a few things, and in the full review, I would give some insight on that as far as what I think about it, whether I would use it or not, and for what purpose. Some other things that this has is it can do parametric EQ, direct dynamic range. I'm not sure why you would even want to change that. Why would you want to change the compression on a song? Maybe just to see what it sounds like all compressed. I don't know. And then it's got DAC filters also, which I haven't messed with either. Overall sound impression is it's very clean, very clear, very analytical. Does not change the sound at all. Doesn't warm it up at all. It plays it as it is on the recording, whereas the X7S just has kind of that lushness, that full-bodied, a little bit of hint of warmth to it, makes it a little enjoyable. And then the Geshelli has that pure, clean sound, that very analytical sound, and that's kind of what the 788 has. Is more of an analytical, clean, clear, and crisp sound with lots of power. I mean, this thing pushes T50s with ease, and I'm sure it'll push everything else that I have. So I look forward to playing around with it some more. And in a few weeks or so, I might try to do a review of it. So this is my first impressions of the Monoprice Monolith THX AAA 788 DAC amp. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.